college football game day is as much a part of college football as any football program in this nation right now. And it's that way because in large part of what Lee Corso is and what he did for that program. If I couldn't watch game day for whatever reason when I was watching game day, I always made sure to get near a TV so I could see him put on the damn head.
I was going to say,
I just needed to know what he wanted to do, who he was picking for that last game, man.
And I think it was a perfect representation of never take the sport too seriously. It's an educational show, but it's a fun show at its heart, which so much sports media has transformed further that direction. But Lee Corso putting a headgear on of a team, as someone who came out from being a coach and then merged into the media space and became one of the biggest personalities. That's not a gimme, but he also set up the blueprint for other coaches to do that and to remember, like, hey, once you're not a coach anymore, you don't have to take yourself as seriously as you once did.
But you can still be knowledgeable about the topic.
And that
was the thing I enjoyed about game day when Lee Corso was at his height. Was that it was educational. It was very, very informative. They hit you with the heartstring stories, and then they water that down with some goofiness, with some fun. The not so fast, right? The way he would at times go back and forth, teasing and ribbing other people on set in a way that I don't think anybody else did, but he could get away with it because he's Lee Corso. He was so respected on that set and in all of our consciousness for so very, very long. Tremendous job, man. I think you can draw a straight line from Lee Corso to the way sports media is right now. I'm not sure you get, everybody loves the TNT crew, right? I'm not sure if you get that without what game day was able to do in the 90s. You know, that's just something that for that time was different in a way that was refreshing and fun and made college football literally an all-day type of thing.
Wake up, watch game day.
You had to watch. To this day, you have to wake up and watch game day at 8 o'clock.
Or you at least had to wake up early enough to see the picks.
See the picks.
At the end.
You hung
and
over
the
in college.
Celebrity guest picker and Lee Corso putting on whatever mascot head he was going to put on that morning. 89 years old.
He's 89?
Yeah. I regularly was one of the few defenders left of Lee Corso still being on the show because over the last few years it became increasingly obvious that he's a man in his upper 80s, and the mentals weren't as sharp as they once were. He dealt with some health complications. I loved seeing his friendship with Kirk Herbstreit as somebody who really took care of him and facilitated a path where he could still be on the show, because you have to be taken care of by the people around you in that situation, and Herbstreit really led that charge with Lee Corso. There was a moment last year, I think it was during Notre Dame's playoff game, where Lee Corso was like dancing with the leprechaun and he almost fell. And in that moment, it hit me for the first time. I was like, I don't want to see this man break his hip on national television. That would be tough to see. But in a world where we are so fast to push our elders out, we are so quick to be like, they're old, we don't need to see them anymore. This makes me uncomfortable, so I don't want to see it anymore. And I understand, like, he doesn't have the glow and like the chutzpah that he once had, but I thought it was such a beautiful thing that he got to continue doing something he loved. He didn't want to retire. We talk about coaches never wanting to retire. He wanted to continue to participate in game day. And they took care of him in a way that not a lot of companies, like, I don't know if we will ever see somebody as old as Lee Corso have the opportunity to continue doing what they love in that kind of a public space, because we just are doing that even less and less. So I loved it.
I sure as hell hope we don't. I hated that part of it. I hated that part of it. When it's clear that you don't have it. And not just not have it. It was clear that we were talking about this a while after the stroke. It's like, oh, the mind is not near as sharp as what it was or what it needs to be.
There.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm trying to be better because I get uncomfortable too.
Sort of other way, not like that. You don't. Yeah. It felt like you were just leaving him vulnerable for criticism and being picked at in a way that was unnecessary when it was all said and done. What?
But don't you think a piece of this is like I don't want to go too big brain with it, but we have such
Let's
a
go big brain.
discomfort
We got
with death and with aging. And so there's something that triggers a response in us, like this person's vulnerable. But for them, it's not a matter of vulnerability necessarily. It's just that it's the beautiful circle of life. Like you've just gotten to this point where you can still make a point, you just don't make it as quickly as you once did. And I wish that we had more of an overexposure to those kind of things, because then perhaps we're not operating from a standpoint of like these people don't matter. And I know you're not saying that Lee Corso doesn't matter, but from
any old person for that
any
matter.
old person, like they
Or
do
anybody.
still matter, and they do still have stories to tell. And there's value that they can, just as there's value that young people add to a workplace, there's value that old people add to that too, if they want to continue. Like, by God, when I'm 89, I hope I'm on a beach with a drink in my hand and I haven't been working for at least 2 years, at least get me to retire by 87. But I don't know. I just think it represents this discomfort with old people that I see all the time.
I think that everything you're saying is true. But this is football, and your life isn't bigger than the college football.
Not bigger than the team.
It's just not. I don't. Right. It's the same issue that I had with Rihanna's Super Bowl performance. Right, where there's this pregnant woman up on stage performing for all these people. I don't give a damn about your baby. Right. This is
Wow.
the Super Bowl.
Never one to leave an opportunity.
But this is the Super Bowl. This is the biggest thing that we got going on. Your individual stuff that you have happening. While in a normal circumstance, I would absolutely be more empathetic and I would absolutely care about those things. In this moment right here, I don't care at all about it. I don't want to be reminded about that. All I want is the football on my screen. So with Lee Corso, when it got to that point, it was, hey, yo, this is affecting the game analysis and breakdown and the fun. Like we got to move on from him, man.
I don't know how to push back. I am not trying to connect the Lee Corso and how we treat our elders to a woman being allowed to perform while pregnant at the Super Bowl.
Perform, Rihanna. Don't just
Rihanna's
stand
existence
there.
is performing. She is a performer. She is a singer.
No. Rihanna comes on stage, does
I'm sorry.
this.
That
does
face
that.
card is all I needed to
Okay.
see.
All right.
But you don't have to.
All right.
You can be mad at Rihanna as a performer, but don't tie it to the fact that she's pregnant. Don't say just because she's pregnant she shouldn't be.
No.
You're implying that she can't perform to the best of her abilities because she's pregnant.
What I'm implying. Let me stop. If that's what I'm implying, I apologize tremendously.
Okay.
What I'm saying is your pregnant ass better get up there and do more than show your baby bump. Showing your baby bump is not enough of a performance for me. And it shouldn't be for any of us for that damn matter. Like, I'm not impressed by that. I'm not impressed enough. Let me take that back. I'm not impressed enough.
Get back to me when you're pregnant.
I'm not impressed enough by that. I can't because administration. I'm not impressed enough by that for it to be his whole Super Bowl performance.
Yeah.
That's my issue. And again, going back to the Lee Corso of it all, tremendous, phenomenal. I don't want to get bogged down in what happened towards the end there and just completely forget what a true superstar he was in the sports media landscape and where we are.
I hate that too.
What?
Like, because I hear people say this. I have heard people say that they didn't go visit their parent in like a memory care facility because they wanted their final memory with their parent.
But this isn't a
to
parent.
be like, I know.
That's the thing.
But you're saying you want this like a lasting memory of Lee Corso in his prime as opposed to, and I got to the same point. I was like, I told you. When I saw him almost fall dancing with the leprechaun, I said, God damn it. Sorry. I don't want my last memory of Lee Corso to be.
Jesus didn't sacrifice himself for you to
It's
take the
almost
Lord's
Good
name
Friday.
in vain. It's tomorrow.
It's almost good. But I did not. That's how much I did not want to see. As I'm talking about him with a good Catholic organization like Notre Dame, I just didn't want to see that. So I understand. I get what you're saying. Shout out Lee Corso. He will be back for one more show on August 30th. So for the first show of the season.
They could have done some pre-produced pieces.
They could have done more of that, yes.
Right, and then you say, all right, we're going to go this way. Don't just send them on the stage the way that they did. Really taking the Lord's veins.
Sorry.
Good Friday is
My
tomorrow.
deepest apologies. I was passionate. I got caught in a moment of passion.
Well, I wish you were passionate about Christ. Somebody should do a movie.
Mel Gibson?
Aren't they doing a second one?
I think they're doing a second one. And I have questions.
How?
I have a lot of questions.
The Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hart, live every weekday at 8 a.m.